Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Executive Principal of Varsity College, Mrs. Sharon Schultz.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight is an awards celebration like no other. I greet you all as you view our Pillar Excellence Spectacular from the comfort of your own homes. I am sure that as a family, you are all ready to celebrate the outstanding achievements of our college this year. Tonight is just another example of the way in which Varsity College has had to adapt to the events of 2020. When we arrived at school to the start of the 2020 school year, I don't think that any of us realised the magnitude of change that we were all going to encounter. This year has been described as unprecedented, and as a school, we can certainly attest to that. This year as a college, we have worked in ways that we never have before. We have adjusted and made changes to our regular ways of working, and whilst this has been difficult, it has also been humbling, an enormous learning experience, and it has been incredibly rewarding. As a P12 college, we did kick off 2020 by welcoming our preppies. Starting in a new school is a very big deal, and it was lovely to see our prep students, along with their families, step into the world of Varsity College. For some families, this was for the first time, and we hope that your first year at Varsity has been a great one. For many of you, you all already have students with us in the secondary campus, and I know we've all had a memorable year. For the secondary school, we kicked off with our first big event for the year, and as it turned out, one of our only big events for the year, our swimming carnival. Held at Somerset College, it was a hot and enjoyable day of fun, great competition, and school spirit. As is also our tradition, at the start of the year, we also held our leadership induction ceremonies on both our primary and secondary campus, where we inducted our student leaders for 2020. It is always a proud day for these students, and they have all done a wonderful job in such a turbulent school year. Congratulations to our primary campus student leaders, Sienna Hanlon, Brant Johnson, May Lott, and Lincoln Sacey. And to our college captains, Lillian Idea and Lachlan Bryson, and vice captains Jade Dearlove and Zinzan Swain. You have all done a wonderful job in 2020, and you should all be very proud of yourselves. So now would usually be the time where I'd talk about the large array of wonderful events that we've held throughout the year. As we all know, we were unable to come together as a college to participate in the many wonderful events that are a part of the fabric of who we are, because it was in March that our entire world changed. This change has been incredibly hard for our school community. And as we've moved through this year, we have all, many times over, lamented the absence of those events that shaped the life of our school community and the people in it. However, in this time of change, I believe that we have shone in our ability to bring our celebrations to life in a new way. And tonight is a brilliant example of this. Here are some other examples. Our Remembrance of the Anzac tradition this year was a majestic example of the ability of the college to not only honour the Anzacs as we always have, but to do it in a way that captures a whole new audience. I know that I certainly shed a tear when Marco Cesetto played the last post. And as we all stood at our driveways for our Anzac services this year, I believe that we demonstrated our commitment to honour our Anzac tradition. The solemnness and reverence of our tribute was certainly inspiring for us all. One of our most recent events has been our annual NAIDOC celebrations, and this was held on both our primary and secondary campus. Our students participated in activities that celebrate the history, culture, and achievements of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. The theme always was, always will be, recognises that First Nations people have occupied and cared for this continent for over 65,000 years. Thank you to our students for their participation in this important event, and we look forward to our community joining us once again in 2021. But it was the end of our first term of this year that marked the start of truly challenging times for our community. And as we struggled to comprehend the implications of what we then knew as coronavirus, We were all working really hard to maintain normalcy in our lives, but we were also starting to use the phrase new normal. This was a time of uncertainty for many of us, and it was compounded when at the start of term 2, we were all pushed into the new world of at-home learning. As educators, this was a first for us all, and as a community, we had to work together to understand how we were actually going to make this work. I do not think that I have experienced anything more intense in my time as a principal, and I would truly like to thank our entire community for the support that was given to myself and the staff of the college. It was not easy, and it certainly was not perfect, but what it was all of us working together and doing the best we could. Whilst dealing with our own individual circumstances and our own family scenarios, we all came together to ensure that our students did not suffer. It was not easy, and at times it was not fun. We were moving and adjusting to COVID-19, as it then became renamed, so quickly that at times we barely had time to adjust to one change, and we were already making the next. And term 2 very quickly became characterised by one word: cancelled. We cancelled NAPLAN. There were no tears from our students on that one. But certainly we cancelled excursions. Sport was cancelled. Cross-country and athletics carnivals, cancelled. Community events had to be cancelled. Leadership dinner, cancelled. Fanfare and Eisteddfods were cancelled. And throughout this, the numbers of students disappointed that those things that they loved about school were no longer available to them continued to grow. And it was really hard to see that disappointment on the faces of our kids. I'm sure that many families also wanted at-home learning cancelled, but we persevered, and a whole new appreciation for teachers came to the fore. Needless to say, there were big smiles all around when students returned to us halfway through term 2. Then we entered the world of social distancing, desks being kept 1.5 metres apart. Hand sanitiser, the world of hand sanitiser, being pumped into hands of students at the school gates and at the doorways of our classrooms. Hand sanitiser became like gold. It was particularly tough when our parents and families were no longer able to come into our school grounds. For a school like Varsity, and indeed really for every school, that was really hard. But I don't want this to be all about doom and gloom, because we've pulled through it and we're out the other side. And as we headed into term 3, we started to get our vibe back in our school. We had all adjusted to our new normal and we were just getting on with it. And that has been the way in which we have approached the last half of this year. We've all rolled up our sleeves and getting on with the job. The resilience that's been shown by our community is something that we must all be incredibly proud of, and we must also remember. Our Year 12 students have graduated, and we had the pleasure last week of holding their graduation and formal. It was lovely that we were all able to be a part of these celebrations, because for a time, we really did not think that these things would happen. These students have come through a year that has been high pressure and high stakes. For the first time in Queensland, external examinations have now been completed, and our students are now starting their unenviable wait for their Year 12 results. Along with their teachers, the Year 12 cohort has been on a 2-year journey that has been like no other. So it's fairly apt that they finish that journey in a year like no other. Needless to say, they are a group like no other. I congratulate them all for their hard work and wish them all the best in the future. In fact, the work that has been done by all staff of Varsity College this year has been second to none. I've been overwhelmed by the willingness of all staff to go the extra mile. And whilst the at-home learning scenario was certainly difficult for families, it was difficult for staff as well. Because at Varsity, we cherish the opportunities to connect with our students inside and outside of our classrooms. And walking around the school, we were missing those connections. But we moved quickly to facilitate the at-home learning across a number of different modes. On a primary campus and a secondary campus, it looked very different. And for families that had students in primary and secondary, it wasn't easy. It was a stressful time. And I sincerely thank each and every one of you and each and every staff member for the work that they have done in 2020. It was truly a team effort, and it's taken every single one of us to make this year a success. We have over 400 staff at Varsity College. We are most fortunate to have a large, committed and dedicated team working for your children. I would also like to thank our P&C Association and School Council for their support of Varsity College in 2020. Community relationships have certainly been tested this year, and we have been most fortunate that our P&C and School Council have provided strong guidance and support during this year. Thank you to all members for working to maintain strong community partnerships. They are the things that will see us moving forward successfully in the future. Parents, thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you to the carers. Thank you to grandparents, big brothers, big sisters, aunts and uncles. Tonight, the accolades your child will be receiving is a tremendous endorsement of your efforts and high expectations, and your aspirations for your child, this year probably more than ever. Thank you for working with us to continue to improve what we are doing. We value your feedback, and we know that there are always areas where we can improve, and we will continue to do the best we can to ensure the great results for your children. To all of our students who are tonight being recognised for their excellence, we congratulate you on your achievements. You should be incredibly proud of what you have achieved, as we are so very proud of you. Congratulations on your success. One of my favourite sayings about teaching comes from Barack Obama, and he has stated that wherever you find something extraordinary, you will find the fingerprints of a great teacher. And I truly believe that. So to our teachers, the opportunities, initiatives and achievements of this year would not be possible if it weren't for your dedication and commitment to our students. This role you play can be challenging at times, and this year you've been challenged more than ever. Yet nowhere have I seen teachers more caring and committed to their students than at Varsity College. Thank you for supporting our students. Thank you for supporting each other. Thank you for supporting your leaders throughout this challenging year.